Guys, welcome to our FBLA Officer Q&A, where we'll be answering some of the questions you might have about the application process for FBLA. So first off, we have, how do you apply to be an officer?
So we basically made an application, so you can pick it up in Miss Carter's room, or there's a digital application that we put out on Remind, and it basically has like a couple of essay questions. You got to get some recommendation letters. Make sure you read like all of the duties that you need to follow like during your time in office if you're chosen, because it's like, I mean, it's a lot to do, and we want to make sure that you're responsible enough to be able to complete these things, because like FBLA officers are your leaders, so we're supposed to set the example for other members to follow. So like completing BAAs, completing CSA, recruiting members, you know, all of that good stuff, going to conferences. So it's really a lot of commitment, but we think that it's really necessary for you to be a part of the team.
The second part of the application process is the interview. Now, we haven't decided who's exactly going to do the interview, but we're hoping, or at least leaning towards the officer doing the interview, because the whole point of the interview is for us to get to know you guys better. So in terms of interview questions, be prepared for like the general interview questions where we get to know more about you, what you do, where you came from, why you want to do what you want to do. There'll also be FBLA-oriented questions, of course, since this is an FBLA officer application. And finally, professional dress is required for the interview.
He was saying that we were leaning more towards like officer interviews and stuff, but if we were going to do officer interviews, it would be in addition to like a more formal interview. So it's not just, you know, up to us, it's also like the business teachers, and so it's a lot more objective. It's not just, you know, up to FBLA people, it's also business teachers or you know, school officials or administrators and stuff.
Next question, why should you apply? Well, applying to be an officer it's not just about your resume. It's not something, I mean, of course it's something good you can put on your resume for your college applications or for whatever, but it's really about the experience of team building, being able to learn how to communicate with others. And yeah, we can share some of what we've learned throughout the year of being an FBLA officer.
So I think one thing that I've learned about being an officer is like time management, and really communication is really important. So like last year, I noticed that it was something that we were lacking, so this year we really like tried to make sure that we were doing our part in communication between members, between officers, so that things like getting together a chapter program of work or organizing like a specific event for you guys goes out accordingly and goes out smoothly. And that's really the whole reason why everything works out so well. Like for fundraisers and everything, it's because we communicate. So it's really something that you go into and you're like, yeah, I'm going to communicate, but it's not until you actually become a part of a team or you work with other people that you actually get to understand that, hey, this is actually a legitimate thing that you need to learn.
I learned from being an officer is just being more responsible and being more confident in my abilities, and just don't be afraid to pitch in an idea whether you think it's stupid or not, and just being more confident in your abilities and what you can do.
What I've learned this year is, most importantly, communication. Very, very important. It's really good to let others know what's going on with you or your project, your task. And being part of the officer team this year has really like, it's been like a family almost. Like it's all the work and time we spent together finishing projects, chapter of the year, planning anything for you guys has really like brought us together as a family, and it's been really cool.
Yeah.
My final thing is, if you're going to be an FBLA officer, there will undoubtedly be work to do. Like, there's no question about that. And you're probably going to be balancing it with other clubs and academics, AP classes, and all that. The main thing you're always going to learn is how to prioritize. And to me, that is the most important skill I've learned out of everything so far. Because there is absolutely no way you're going to get everything done at the same time. Like, I can already tell you that. So prioritizing is going to be a priority.
But don't let that stop you from applying. If you have other extracurriculars or off-campus activities, don't let that stop you from applying, because all of us have multiple things going on. Like, it's about time management, finding time for FBLA and for all your other activities as well.
So like we're not saying FBLA has to be your top priority, right? Do everything you want to do as long as you're passionate about it. And that's what we've learned. Like if you're really passionate about something, you're going to make time and you're going to find ways to make sure that you achieve every little thing. So
okay, moving on. Next question. What are some of the different things you do as an officer?
Well, I'm secretary, and Maria is president, and then we have 2 vice presidents down here, and is vice president of service.
Yes.
And then Manav is vice president of
membership.
And then we also have Bailey, who couldn't be here today. She is the vice president of communication.
I'm going to be honest, towards the beginning of the year, I was kind of unsure of my duties and was afraid to kind of look into it. Basically, what a secretary does is handle correspondence, so like being a part of the Remind system, which we kind of all jumped into. So we're all part of sending out reminds and different messages and communicating to the chapter. I also work with like attendance, so like if you come to a chapter meeting, I'll try to make sure that we have some kind of sign-in sheet and system going on. And then this year, I worked on the chapter program of work. So basically, this plans out the entire year and plan on doing that. Yeah. I was going to get there. Oh, sorry. And then, also do agendas and minutes when I can. And of course, Maria or Ms. Carter, they might write an agenda ahead of time because they already know exactly what we want to talk about. But I also do minutes too, so just like recording what goes on during the meeting, what is said, and important things that we have to, that members who are not in attendance of a meeting that they need to know, and we put it on the website.
For me serving as vice president, this year we actually had 3 vice presidents and split up into 3 different categories. Mine was service, so mainly it was dealing with planning, figuring out different community service projects, what to do, and also just helping out with any general chapter projects or things we might do like chapter of the year. But I think like being vice president, you can just help anywhere you're needed besides just your area, and that's for all positions as well. It's not limited to just what is on the book, what is written down. So, but this year we actually have a head of community service and head of fundraisers, so it's not all the pressures on the VPs for all of this.
So like there's no actual boundaries like we have on the application. What do we call them? Like we have duties. We have duties for you guys. Like, but that's not what it's limited to, because with the VPs, it's like a transition kind of position. So and it's a transition position, right? So we're not defined by exactly what we have to do. So we go from helping with agendas to helping with fundraisers, helping with community service, helping with Instagram, social media, whatever. This is basically like what all of us do. We just like go from one thing to another.
This year, like I really worked on starting up our social media, our website, a lot of like the planning for social events and getting together a lot of the competitive events, preparation for it and stuff. So we helped members find Quizlets, find study guides and resources to be successful in those events. And, like they said, we're not limited to what the duties really say. So in addition to being specialists, like, Anne specializes in finding community service, and Kenia's over here with agenda and minutes, and Manav is mainly on, on the membership sort of deal.
Yeah,
in addition to that, we're also generalists, so we all work on finding sponsorships for our organization.
Yes.
And right now we're trying to find NLC sponsorships, and we're also working towards membership retaining and recruitment, so writing letters to members, organizing the early membership drive, things like that. So it's we're all really working together to accomplish one thing. So at the end of the day, it's you have a title and you have a position, but you're also doing a lot of the same things that the top positions are doing. It doesn't really matter who you are in this officer team. It matters how much you do or what you do or how much work you put in.
Yeah, so like if you're head of digital media, don't be like afraid to come up
Yeah.
and be like, I think you should do this instead of this. Like, we're not gonna bite you guys and be like, no, that's not how that's not how it's gonna work.
I mean, a lot of the time this year we've all just been working together.
Yeah.
Like most of the time, it's really hasn't been that split up
Yeah.
because we've communicated well through
Remind?
through Remind and like text and group chats, so we can figure out who's doing what, but on the same project.
So all in all, you guys will do your own specific things for your positions, but you'll also like come together to help us with like the general planning of like big events and things like that.
Yeah.
Moving on to our last question. Do you need prior experience to be an officer?
Absolutely not.
Yes.
In the regards
Absolutely
that none of us had any prior experience to being an officer. Like I said before, this is a learn by doing kind of experience, and just like how we didn't know what we're doing, and we found out like throughout the months and after making mistakes. It's just a trial by error kind of thing, and I may sound like we're gonna throw you guys under the bus.
It's really a learning process. Like
Yeah.
this year was our learning process. We had to learn everything new, the new projects of FBL, how it rolls to be an officer team.
Like some final words of advice, just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be flexible. Don't be afraid to try new things. And don't be afraid to be a leader. Just have confidence in yourself. Apply for any position that you feel that you'll be, good for, and just step up and be a leader that you know that you can be and contribute to FBLA.
Yeah.
All right. So if you guys have any more questions, comments, concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. Find our emails or phone numbers or our
No,
social.
not our phone number. Yeah,
Social
social
media.
media.
Okay.
We
So-
usually do like God, this tastes like soap.
we can put any like Q&A on our Instagram stories if you have any questions, you can post on there. We'll answer them for you. But anyways, thank you guys for listening, and we hope to see you apply as an officer this year.
Spread them out across the table. It can't be like.
Where's India?
So we're recording this. Yeah, this is what I meant by bloopers.